Up in the top right-hand corner of GSL Whirlwind, playing for what I assume is Team Sintox, we've got the blue Terran. He's Izno. And his opponent in the bottom left-hand corner, playing for the top left-hand corner, playing for Team Myth. Got the green Zerg. Don't know if it's female or not. We'll see if he kicks some ass, though. We got MythAmandaGS.
Now, there was the heart in the GLHF heart, which I think is just brilliant. Of course, as we mentioned, Valentine's Day, Singles Awareness Day, Chocolate Appreciation Day. But this map is huge. And that is probably going to be the defining factor of it. That most likely going to go to a bit more of a longer macro game. They are in the close by ground positions in the horizontal spawns. So that means that they should be expanding down, which isn't a big problem. There's a lot of attack paths you can utilize here. That center watchtower isn't going to be particularly useful for either of these two, though. And that means that it may actually get somewhat ignored.
Yeah, the map control that both these players are going to be seeking, not necessarily revolving around that, at least not in the early game. But both of them going to be going out with the scout here. Our Zerg player is going to get the scout off first, just getting a little bit luckier with the rotational symmetry, and will be finding his opponent, while the SCV going to take a little bit longer here. And our Zerg player right away, as soon as he finds his opponent, immediately going for a 15 hatch.
So, 15 hatch against a Terran, completely normal. Out of IzNo, we should be seeing a 1-rack command center. It's the normal build, it's the macro build that on a map like this, you want to be trying to execute. So, I don't think there's anything to be surprised about for the time being. It's really going to come down to the mid-game and what sort of strategies these two want to go for. Whether they want to end it quickly or whether they want to draw it out and just really put each other through their paces.
Yeah, and of course from our Terran player here, like you said, the 1 ranks expand is most likely. It's going to come down to whether he how he follows it up more accurately. If he's going to be dropping that 3rd CC and trying to go macro greedy style, or if he's really going to commit to some kind of mid-game aggression, a 7 to 9 minute timing to try to punish his opponent, maybe even opening up with some kind of MVP style cloaked Banshee build. How do you think that build is really going to fare on this map?
Well, there's not that much dead space, but the natural base is a little bit exposed to air, so that could be quite interesting in itself. And the reason I don't think it'd be a great build is just because if they were in the cross-spawn positions, the main would be at a bit of a threat from the south position of it, and the natural from the north. But being in the close-by-ground positions, it just means that it's only really a risk to the natural, which means one Spore Crawler could really do most of the work there. So I'm just looking at that SCV and what it is doing sitting there, down by the 3rd base. Are we going to see an engineering bay block?
It's certainly a possibility here. Now, AmandaGS not going to be dropping that 3rd just yet. Wants to get good scouting information off to make sure that his opponent is going for that natural expansion. And right now, he just doesn't have that information. Can probably assume, but as we actually see the 4 barracks wall coming down here from IzNo, and what does this indicate?
Well, it's going to be an awful lot of infantry awfully quickly, and that can be very difficult to deal with. And the important thing that Amanda needs to identify is what add-ons come to those barracks, because you need to know how many tech labs, what Marauder production is going to be coming out, whether it's Stim, Combat Shield, etc. Because that'll all make a big difference. If it's just a lot of Marines, which is a very high possibility considering there's no gas at the moment, then you just got to get Banelings out and you'll be absolutely fine.
Now, instead of going for Banelings, the first amount of gas here looks like it might be allocated toward Roaches, as the Roach Warren is down, and the SCV will be able to scout out the Roach Warren. Gas not being used to produce any Roaches just yet, but dropping that down as a safety measure at about the 5-minute mark to deal with any possible Hellion aggression. And still not seeing the Baneling nest, and our Zerg opponent does not have any clue at this point that all those racks have gone down.
Indeed, I'm looking at the vision from our green Zerg and just nothing. There is no knowledge at all. Doesn't know for sure that the natural base is down, doesn't know about the barracks, doesn't know about the gas timings, and that's what's really going to hurt because, as we see, there is already 12 Marines out on the field. That is pretty darn high.
Yeah, and our Zerg player, instead of going for that vision, is allocating a lot of his APM back at home. And I'd like to point out, you can see the 2 forward spine crawlers right here. And you might say, Beef, how the hell did those spore crawlers get not spore crawlers, the creep
Creep
tumors,
tumors.
get so far out there. He actually did a hatchery cancel and had 2 queens in position to drop those forward creep tumors. So I really like that. This is going to give our Zerg player such a boost in creep spread, and his creep is just going to make it all the way to the Terran's base here. If it's not obstructed, he'll be over there in like 3 minutes. But here comes that obstruction.
Indeed, these Marines are going to be getting over to the Zerg base a long way before the 3 minutes it take for the creep to get to the Terrans, and with so few units out on the field, just the 2 Zerglings and 3 Roaches, these Marines could potentially do an awful lot of damage.
Yeah, it's going to come down to really good queen control here, and nice use of the Roaches, but scan going down, and all that creep that our Zerg player just worked so hard to drop, all going to be cleaned up, and won't be able to get this creep tumor on the high ground, but here they go, marching up into the base, and now going to start working on some SCVs. Well, the drone's going down right there. A couple of Roaches going to be taking the fire, but 3 queens and 4 Roaches should be able to eliminate this. Going to lose a total of 2 queens before all of these Marines are eliminated, and even going to manage to bring down a couple of drones right there. A total of 3 workers killed, 2 queens and a Roach.
It wasn't much damage, really. For the amount of commitment, it was just... It could have been more, and that's the real concern now, is that the Zerg player is still 9 workers ahead, still comfortably in a good spot with tech, getting the Baneling Nest down, getting the Spire down, and IzNo hasn't started Stim until that push was already underway, so it's only half done. Combat Shield is now on its way out as well, but generally tech-wise, quite a long way behind, only getting up his 2 engineering bays as we speak, and this just means that actually Amanda could be in a good position moving forward with the 3rd base already secured.
And with that 3rd base, he's going to be able to take gases 5 and 6 as those 2 extractors do go up, and he's going to be allocating a lot of that gas to his gas-intensive units. The Spire already on the way down, and we've also got a Baneling Nest going in, so it looks like he will be going for that mid-game composition of the Mutiling Bling that we see so frequently, and that's so effective on this map.
It's really a good strategy to go for, and some people are going, why not Windfesters? Infestors, they're really good, should get those out, and it's because of the just area you can jump straight into the main base. But as we see now, IzNo getting down the missile turrets. I don't believe he's scouted, no, he has not seen the Spire, so just anticipating that, and that is really good play, because now those Muters won't have a free win jumping in. A good Flock will be able to snipe off the missile turret, but it's just a case of how many and how much Amanda's willing to commit to it.
And right now, there's this window where the Zerg army, not that strong. There's no Mutalisks out yet. There's no Banelings morphed. Just have these Zerglings and Roaches, and a Marauder Marine army coming in right now. 9 Marauders accompanied by 22 Marines. Another scan going to come in, doing a lot of cleanup, and a Stim comes up right here. Terran player looking to make something happen. Down goes the Queen, and going to start working on some of these Baneling cocoons. Maybe not so much, as those Marauders are about to take a lot of damage. No, the Banelings fall back. Now coming forward and going to try to crash onto the Marauders, but Baneling's not going to be exploding just yet, trying to corral these Marines, but not quite able to make the connections. There's the big connections, and huge, huge defense. The Marauders all cleaned up as well, and in the end, no additional workers killed. If we take a look at units lost, Terran actually coming out behind.
That is a big problem for IzNo. He didn't kill any workers, and the reason that is so critical is the Zerg player just grabbed out another 10. Up to that 70 mark, where it's all important. One more round of drones and we'll be ace. We've got Roaches out, we've got Zerglings out, we have some great Baneling connects, and now the Muters are hitting the field as well. And that is going to be problems for IzNo if he doesn't deal and scout with it quickly.
Yeah, he is working on that concussive shell now to try to deal with some of those Banelings, maybe slow him down a little bit and allow his army to more effectively kite them. And he has finished up 1-1, but with the Mutalisks already coming across the map, you mentioned that he does have some turrets, but the turret's not going to be able to protect this 3rd command center and the barracks that are building right now. Even the medevacs that are just popping out left undefended for now. And Mutalisks going to start working on the SCVs, knock down those builders, and now I'm going to try to take a hit in the mineral line.
Now these Muters are in a very committed position right now. They've got to be very careful not to get caught out by those Marines. The missile turret will get a couple more kills. We see IzNo is moving forward with a few more Stim Marines. Does manage to get 1 Muter down, 1 to very low health indeed. And that was an okay defense, to be honest, but we can see 6 SCVs have now been taken out. Amanda at 74 drones to the 58 of IzNo.
And one thing I'd like to point out right now is this composition that's coming out of IzNo. He's actually building a ton of Marauders. He's got 14 Marauders in this composition, which are extremely, extremely ineffective against this Marine Marauder, or excuse me, against the Mutiling Baneling composition that our Zerg player is going. He's going to have perfect control of those Marauders and really try to be the linebackers, blocking for his high DPS Marines and trying to absorb as many Baneling hits as possible. But with the swarm-based build that our Zerg player is going, he's going to try to attack from all sides. But using 6 Marauders up here in the front lines, they're going to be able to easily clean up these Banelings. In fact, stim up right there and see ya Banelings.
Those Banelings do not get to complete, and that is just bad times for them. But now this Marine Marauder force is coming forward. But we've seen Amanda have 2 brilliant holds already, just waiting for those Banelings to pop, and now moving in. We see some good surrounds coming from those Zerglings. The Banelings unable to connect quite yet. The Mutants are coming from the side, and it looks like yet again Amanda gonna be able to hold this off with relative ease.
Yeah, the Mutalisk even going to be able to clean up all of the medevacs here in the air. And IzNo looking like he's in pretty big trouble. The Orbital Command going to be trying to come over, but as soon as it lifts off, the Mutalisks are en route, and they're going to try to target down this Orbital Command before it can be saved by any SCVs. The Zerglings all morphing into Banelings. 33 Banelings now on the way. The Orbital Command going to take the fall here in just a moment as, well, Marines are going to come over and try to defend it. They will be able to grab the defense, but these Banelings are in perfect position for a flank.
Yes,
and, oh, this is about to be so bad. There's so many Banelings! And down goes every one of those SCVs. The Marines could be in trouble next, and big connections coming in. Every one of those Marines is cleaned up, and Sintox in a lot of trouble.
That was an absolutely brilliant push for those Banelings. Those SCVs pulled all the way out of the natural to come and heal up that orbital command. A grand total now of 37 SCVs have been taken out. That means that Amanda are just under 80 to just under 30 of IzNo. This is starting to look pretty one-sided.
It is indeed, and MythAmandaGS looking like he wants to go in for the killing blow and might have to deflect one more assault here. The Mutalisk number is pretty damn high. 25 right now, have no upgrades on them, but here comes the Zerglings and the Banelings. Banelings gonna start crashing into those Marines, and Marauder's gonna try to soak up a few hits here, but it's simply not gonna happen. Splitting off the Banelings, a good load up though, a hot pickup, but no! The medevacs go down right there, and the Mutalisk's gonna try to clean up everything on the ground. Sintox gonna say, grats, GG's out, and leaves the